Horvath, who was the creator of Ugly Doll and a friend of mine for a while. And he's going to tell a story about how Ugly Doll and the many other characters got created. And I wanted to say also that thank you to Heya for sponsoring this lunch and sponsoring everyone. All right, so yeah, we're just going to jump right into it, let David talk and ask me some questions. And also, under your chairs, one of the chairs is like a little sticker. And I guess if you got that sticker, you can take the centerpiece, you can take the little Lassie bear home with you. So everyone's digging under their seats. Winner! Winner!
Saying that they found a flying saucer, but then I was surprised when I realized that it actually was the military said they found a flying saucer with aliens. Between then and now, they changed their story a little bit. And then in 1957, in West Virginia, in Braxton County, a whole bunch of farmers and other people saw they thought it was a plane crash. And so they ran over to the field in Braxton County to into the flatwoods to help the people who maybe have been injured or are now dead due to this terrible plane crash. And instead, what they found was a fiery ball of fire, and this giant flatwood monster came out from behind a tree and kind of squirted weird poisonous oil on it. And they got really sick. And then in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, in 1967, hundreds of people during a few months of time, kind of a stretch of a few months, saw this thing, which they call the Mothman. And he would sort of make these funny predictions to them through the same curve over the telephone, like, oh, you know, you're all going to die. And then they all died. This is my wife. Her name is, oh, she's watching me. That's my wife and the co-creator of Ugly Dolls. And we met at the Parsons School of Design in 1997. And when I first met her, I would talk to her, and I was drawing, I think, a Mothman and a flatwood monster. And she knew exactly what those things were. You know, back 10 years ago, we were nowhere, you know, now we all know those stories are completely true, and only those weird, nutty people think that there's no such thing as UFOs, like those kind of kooks. Well, I don't know many. But back then, you know, we weren't as kind of ahead as we are now and far along, whatever you call it. So I was surprised that, you know, she knew what these things were, and it turns out that we both grew up with this old book from elementary school, that we both had the same book that kind of showed these exact eyewitness illustrations. And so we were, you know, we also realized, oh wow, we have a lot in common. We both want to make toys when we get out of school, but we also don't want to work for a toy company. So our the professors were kind of like, well, good luck. I don't know how you guys are going to manage that. That's really interesting. But then we told them, well, we also want to make toys about these Mothmans and flatwood monsters. And then they said, wow, really, best of luck to you. And then growing up, these are the kinds of toys that I sort of grew up on. A lot of the other kids had Star Wars and G.I. Joe, but my dad always brought a lot of my stuff back from Japan. And so I grew up on Godzilla and on robots, Japanese robots, which were very cool. So Darth Vader was okay, but these guys could be the biggest combo in any day. But I was also very interested in how can that Godzilla toy be only $3? But the toys that we have for $3 is an all-blue parachute man. When you throw up, the tape comes off and it doesn't really have a real parachute. And how come that our like my Japanese robot has, you can't see in the picture, it's kind of blurry, but he has like very heavy metal parts. And then the one in America has plastic parts. But the price is the same. So I was always, that was kind of my interest with toys. It wasn't that I knew I wanted to make toys. I knew I didn't want to make toys in a toy company, but I also just was really angry over why we're getting that one when everyone else gets that one. So this sort of stuff kind of just drove me. And then when we got out of school, I got a call from Sony and NHK in Japan. They were looking for some little character to kind of put on TV and teach kids how to move their body and to put out little positive messages. So I sent them this kind of weird random skeleton where he can kind of zoom his limbs, and I called him Little Boney, and they fell in love with him, and they said, oh, we're going to make a TV show, and they invited me to come down to Japan, and we had all these meetings about how they're going to make, we're going to make everything under the sun with Little Boney, even sand buckets. And I thought, wow, that's a lot. You know, that's pretty amazing. And then it kind of just disappeared. And I thought that they just didn't want to make Little Boney. But then later we heard back from them, and they started writing little animated shorts that we kind of wrote the storyboards for in the beginning. NHK every morning. But that was pretty much it. We didn't see any sand buckets. And then right around that time, Sunday and my dog both had to move back to Korea. It was right after 9/11, just not directly related to that, but just because there was a lot of stuff going on at the time. She had her student visa expired, so she had to go home. So I was pretty upset over that, because now how are we supposed to make toys together? She's all the way over there, and I'm all the way over here. So I wrote many kind of I miss you letters to her, and oh, don't worry, I'll find a way for us to get back together again, and we'll be able to make our toys. And I would always sign them with this little guy, Paige, at the bottom. And then as a present, she sewed a plush version of it for me, just as a gift. So I was kind of surprised to see this. I thought, wow, you know, we've been trying to make all these different toys, but I kind of like this one. There's something here. So this is, we put them in since then we put them in a case and we locked them in the wall. But anyway, back, so when I got this doll, I thought, well, I really want to show this to people. Maybe we can actually make a real toy out of this. So I can't tell you who I showed it to, but I showed it to this one big toy company. And they said, well, you can't make those kind of toys, you know, you have to make, like, if you get a job here, we'll give you Batman, because we license Batman. Warner Brothers, and then you'll make a Batman figure, or if there's a TV show about something, then we can make a toy about that. But these are funny, but it doesn't make sense to make a toy out of these, and anyway, kids won't like those because there's no show. So instead I went to a giant robot in Los Angeles, and I showed Rage to my friend Eric Nakamura, and he said, oh, I like these, and I would like to take 10 of these. So okay, so he wanted 10 of them. So I kind of called Sunday and I said, thank you very much for making this great doll for me, and can I please have 10 more? So she sewed 10 more, and Sunday was really excited that, oh wow, you know, we love Giant Robot. We've been huge fans of the magazine for years and years, and that would be cool. You know, we'll have these 10 dolls on our shelf, and we'll be sitting there next to all our heroes like Murakami. And that'll be fun, and we'll send all our friends down there. And we were pretty horrified to find out that they had pretty much sold out right away. I got an email from Bill, this guy who was working at the time. He said, hey, you know, we need more ugly dolls. And I thought, this is terrible. So I asked them to make 20 more, and then she made 20 more, and then 40 more, and they kept kind of selling out quickly. And over the next year and a half, we put them in another store in New York called Zaka, and those kept selling so quickly, so we thought that's bad. Either we have to stop because some of the tans were changing different colors, kind of rainbow, blues colors. And it was great that we were selling them, but we thought, well, let's take all the money that we made on selling these dolls, and why don't we just make them for real and go into production? So this is one of the pictures of the early It took us like 6 months to get through. We thought that these are so simple that they're going to be really easy and the factories will have no problem making these. We had a terrible time finding really great factories. And we finally found this incredible place in Korea that's not really a toy factory. They mostly made like designer furniture and whatnot. So they finally got it right. And we added on Wages Little Buddy Babo, their best friends. And that's right around the time when we started getting these pictures sent to us. Like, I mean, this one was just, the email was something like, you know, I'm Babo's #1 fan. And he really was. He still is. So right away, we realized that this was not just a toy, which was good because more than just making toys, we also wanted to tell stories. The boys wanted to make children's books and kind of tell stories through toys. That toys were more of a storytelling device. And right away, folks started to sort of pick up on that it wasn't just a stuffed animal, that it was a living creature that was becoming meaningful in one's life, except for this guy's. I moved to New York and I thought, okay, well, definitely these are not going to go to Toys R Us and Walmart, Target, and all these other great stores that we really love to shop at. But we should try to find the other really great boutique shops that, you know, Giant Robot, basically, when they opened up, that whole street, which had kind of been sort of dead for the last 10 years now, it's like it's come back to life. It reminds me of Westwood back in the mid-80s or so. So I thought, okay, well, let's find some really nice boutiques, and this guy didn't want any of the dolls in his store. He actually chased me away. I guess he chased away all his customers because that store was gone now. But then this store, this was pretty weird. They actually wanted to put them in the window. So we put them in the window, and then they sold out on them one day. So then they put them in the front window, and I don't know, they just did really well. So I realized that, wow, this is something that I guess we should be supporting the little boutique shops like that. They've all disappeared. All the little mom and pop toy stores and the comic book stores that I grew up on, most of those are gone, and it's all just the big box stores, which are great. But there's something about little funny stores that do little cute windows. Like, yeah, I guess they're not really that small, but they're smaller than Walmart. And they make nice windows. So we tried to find stores that were cute and small and where the people were nice, or where they did really nice windows. FAO Schwartz did really good windows, so we started selling them there too. And it kind of just took off from there. And then, meanwhile, back in Korea, Sunmin was kind of happy that things were taking off, and we finally had things going where we could afford our own. There's stage, get in trouble. So we had our first booth at Toy Fair, and it was just a 10 by 10 felt thing. And we were right next to where the people from the hotel would go to the bathroom. But then it didn't really matter. We thought, oh, no one's going to come to our booth. We're in the corner, and we have these 5 dolls, and no one can see them because it's just it was like a big pool table with like a stain on it. But there was a lot of great response, and we got all these orders from little tiny shops all over the world. And so then after that, we started making our Toy Fair a little bit bigger. And we started getting into licensing. We started making vinyl figures and plastic versions of the Ugly Dolls, and they still kind of did just as well. Those are the Ugly Dogs. And then in Japan, we got a call from Coca-Cola. For some weird reason, they wanted us to put Ugly Dolls on Coca-Cola bottles. So when you go to Japan, you could buy a bottle of Coca-Cola, and you were tired of having bright white teeth and all that. There was a little toy in there. So you could get one of these guys, and you could make him sit on top of your soda bottle. And they made about 4 billion of these things, and they were supposed to last the whole summer. So we got there maybe 5 days after the promotion started, and we were horrified to find that they had already sold out pretty much across the entire country, which is really weird because in Japan they had no idea what these things were. So I guess out there that's okay. Then we started working with Chronicle Books. They made some really cool telephone And all while this is going on, we were getting approached from other companies. We would like to make other things. And we got approached by this candy bar company. We want to do Ugly All Candy. And we didn't really want to make Ugly All Candy for some reason, but they were okay with us making an all-new character for them. So we did this choco in the candy bar. And we put all this wacky stuff on there, like it tastes really good, and on the back it said like, okay, maybe it doesn't taste really, really good, but it's just okay, like, it's not so bad, that sort of thing. And after they stopped making the chocolate bar, basically the couple of the mascots, the poor guys, they no longer have, they're out of work. So we made these vinyl figures based on the characters that are on the chocolate bars, that now they no longer have a job being the guys on the chocolate bar, so they're trying to find other lines of work, so they go get a good job at honey toffee place or that on the grape juice can. And we just kept making other colors and using the other jobs to make the very colors. And then when we were in Japan this one time, we submitted this character to a publishing company. His name was Bossy Bear. That's the guy on the table there that you want to read the sticker. So Bossy Bear was this book that we had made years ago, and it was kind of sitting on the desk for the longest time, and then and they closed. So our manager just showed it randomly to Disney Publishing, and they wanted to make it into a children's book out here. And so they just released last May the Bossy Bear children's book. And I realized that in Barnes Noble and Borders, no one notices when you just put your own book on the best-selling author. But then they really sell. So it becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy. So now we just drive around pretty much anytime we're driving around, we'll stop at a bookstore. Now they really put it there for real, I guess. And then this is Mothman. We got called by this great company in Japan, Wonderful, and they wanted to make kaiju toys that would be made in Japan, not in China, by this really incredible kaiju factory in Japan. And we didn't really want to make actual kaiju because, I don't know, kaiju is kind of like what we grew up on. They were sort of like the monsters from the Godzilla movies. So we thought this was a great chance to make the flatwoods and Mothman toys that our instructors told us we would never be able to make. And then they did really well. They sold out like crazy, so we made different kinds, like glow-in-the-dark ones, and glow-in-the-day ones, and just really, really bizarre. And the funny thing happened is that now we're getting emails from the ufology and cryptozoology communities. Originally, these were supposed to be for like the designer toy community, I suppose. But now we get tons of emails from the readers of UFO magazine and folks who grew up in the flatwoods where they saw the monster, where it squirted ink on their grandma. And so now it's kind of broken out of the toy world, and now we're sort of have a secondary following in the UFO world. There's the baby Mothman in the flatwoods, and now a chupacabra also. And they come in the packaging that's kind of pretty much the same as how kaiju in Japan is packaged. And on the boxes, it's a true story. And then suddenly, Little Boney suddenly started to do really well. Oh, he's not doing really well in this picture, I guess. I think he fell. But basically, they've been showing it every weekday for a few years now. And then we got this big box of Little Boney stuff, and they made dolls, and they made paper towels, and crayons, and keychains. And if you look right above the Power Ranger, there's Little Boney right there. That's pretty amazing for me. I grew up on, my dad used to bring these magazines back. And just to see Little Boney above this year's, well, they don't call it Power Rangers, they call it Sentai. But that's pretty cool. And there, if you look right there, there's Little Boney sand toy buckets. They really do. It's pretty cool. And there's like a Little Boney punching bag, but that's only like 6 inches high. So it's like a personal punching bag that you hide off in a corner somewhere and punch, where no one can see punching. Little Boney's there somewhere. But this was another really cool magazine that we kind of grew up with. There's On, right? Everyone knows who he is. That train guy. And then right above the train guy, under the number 2 is Little Boney. I guess it's really hard to make the cover because we got all kinds of emails from Japan like, oh, you did it! So I wrote that. Then they made this music video with this group. They're called AK-47. I don't know if that's the right kind of name for but I guess there's 47 pop singers, and they're all part of this one group. And Little Boney's, if you search for Little Boney on YouTube, you can see the video of him dancing around with AK-47. Oh, and then Random House is going to be releasing some ugly doll books this April 22nd. They're going to come out, and that's the cover of the first one. This is the Ugly Guide to the Ugly Verse. It's kind of like if you go to a new city and you buy the travel book for that city, so it's kind of like a guide to where they go to the bathroom and where the best restaurants are and all that kind of, where to rent a car, that kind of thing. The second book is called Ugly Things That Go and Things That Should Go But Don't. It's kind of like a guide to all the vehicles and stuff in Ugly Town. And this is it's called, I don't know how to pronounce it, I think it's a enigma. It's those traditional Japanese cloth that I think sometimes they put over the doorway when you go through, or that you wear on your head if you're like a gangster rapper guy. That's the close up with our newest Flatless monster that Sunman picked the colors for. That's going to come out later. And you ever go to the supermarket and you see those kind of like farm animal sets and zoo animal sets, and like the pig is 10 times bigger than the cow. They're kind of like really cheap, like $1, like those, I don't know, I call them supermarket toys. So the new secret project that we're working on for next year is our own supermarket toys, but they're of the Mothman and Flatless monster. So there's going to be these Mothman and Flatless monster supermarket toys. So they'll come with like the fence and the tree that they've got the oil squirted on and all that stuff. So they'll be pretty accurate, and we're going to be advertising those in UFO magazines. They're going to be really inexpensive, and the quality is going to be pretty bad. And just we're going to kind of focus these on maybe on the UFO cryptozoology community more than the toy designer toy community, because they're used to more high quality and high nice stuff. So that's our new top secret project. And then Sunman finally made toys of her spider book idea that the other instructor said wasn't a good idea. And these are coming out pretty soon, any day now. And real quick, I'm going to show you one other thing. Every December at Giant Robot, we have this thing called Ugly Town. Oops. Vacation photos of Okay, so this was the costume contest. We had a lot of kids show up dressed as ugly dolls, and a lot of adults showed up dressed as ugly dolls. It was pretty amazing. This was pretty shocking when Eric from Giant Robot wrote to me and said, there's a line outside. It was early in the morning, and we weren't going to open until 6 p.m. at night. So that was pretty cool. And we kind of liked it that it happened, what we were hoping would happen where it was more like it wasn't just a line outside, it ended up being like a family and sort of like a new community of people who have connected online but who have been in person for maybe in many cases the first time. They're making a little fun. I guess this guy made a doll cake for this guy. Then the line started to get, and then it started to rain, but they still stuck around. And even though the line was really long, there's only one register. Oh, we have a great time. So next year is at the Giant Robot in San Francisco, and then the year after that it'll be at nobody drew any, or no mustaches. Great, no graffiti, none. But those were we'd all think guys from every time. And then Simon and I got married and had a baby, and then that's it. So thank you. Thanks very much.
For the afternoon, now you guys have a very, very difficult decision that you have to make because there are two tracks. One is Pika Pika Workshop. That's going to take place in the lab. When you go in, it's on the left-hand side. It's a really awesome experience. So, that's really something that you should experience. On the other hand, the other track is a one-on-one interview between Jeff Staples and John Day. So if you could clone yourself, it's difficult to go to the workshop, but you have to choose between one track and then be there probably in about 5 minutes. So if you could do that, that would be great. Thank you. Oh, and also, I'm sorry. The suite that you guys are having, Beer Pop-Up, they're celebrating 2 years and opening in Little Tokyo in 2 weeks. And in your goodie bag, there was a certificate for free beer top-up, so please take advantage of that. And this was hand-delivered from Beer Pop-Up Sweet Cafe, Hollywood, and Highland. And it is part of a pop culture from Japan, so you are experiencing pop culture, freshly baked. So enjoy your